Sarah had always been a light sleeper, but lately, her nights had become a battlefield. What started as occasional bad dreams had evolved into something far more sinister, a relentless cycle of terror that invaded her sleep with clockwork precision. Every night, as darkness fell and the world around her settled into peaceful slumber, Sarah found herself trapped in a recurring nightmare that left her gasping for air, drenched in sweat, and afraid to close her eyes again. Nightmare disorder, a condition that affects approximately 4% of adults, had taken hold of Sarah's life with an iron grip. Unlike the random scary dreams that most people experience occasionally, her nightmares followed a pattern of intensity and frequency that disrupted not only her sleep, but her entire existence. The clinical definition describes nightmare disorder as repeated occurrences of extended, extremely dysphoric, and well-remembered dreams that usually involve threats to survival, security, or physical integrity. For Sarah, this meant facing the same terrifying scenario night after night, being chased through endless corridors by faceless figures whose intentions remained horrifyingly unclear. The impact of nightmare disorder extends far beyond the sleeping hours. Sarah discovered this harsh reality when her daytime functioning began to deteriorate significantly. The chronic sleep disruption caused by her nightly terrors led to persistent fatigue, difficulty concentrating at work, and an overwhelming sense of dread as evening approached. She found herself drinking excessive amounts of coffee to stay alert during meetings, making careless mistakes she would never have made before, and experiencing mood swings that strained her relationships with colleagues and friends. What many people don't understand about nightmare disorder is its complex relationship with mental health and trauma. While anyone can experience nightmares, the disorder often develops in individuals who have experienced significant psychological stress, trauma, or have underlying anxiety disorders. Sarah's nightmares had begun shortly after a car accident that left her physically unharmed but emotionally shaken. The connection wasn't immediately obvious to her, but her therapist later explained how traumatic events can manifest in our dream states, creating a cycle where unresolved fears and anxieties play out repeatedly during REM sleep. The physiological aspects of nightmare disorder are equally fascinating and troubling. During a nightmare episode, the body experiences genuine fear responses, elevated heart rate, increased blood pressure, rapid breathing, and the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These physical reactions are so intense that they often wake the dreamer, creating a jarring transition from the dream world to reality. For Sarah, this meant waking up feeling as if she had actually been running for her life, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it in the silence of her bedroom. Sleep specialists classify nightmare disorder as a parasomnia, a category of sleep disorders characterized by abnormal behaviors, emotions, perceptions, or dreams that occur during sleep or sleep-wake transitions. The disorder typically occurs during REM sleep, the stage when our most vivid and memorable dreams take place. This timing is crucial because REM sleep is essential for emotional processing and memory consolidation. When nightmares consistently disrupt this stage, the brain's ability to process experiences and emotions becomes compromised, potentially perpetuating the cycle of disturbed sleep and psychological distress. The diagnosis of nightmare disorder requires specific criteria to be met. The nightmares must occur frequently, typically once per week or more, and cause significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. The nightmares cannot be attributed to the effects of substances, medications, or other medical conditions. For Sarah, meeting these criteria was unfortunately straightforward, as her nightmares had been occurring almost nightly for 3 months, and their impact on her work performance and relationships was undeniable. Treatment approaches for nightmare disorder vary depending on the underlying causes and individual circumstances. Cognitive behavioral therapy for nightmares, known as CBTN, has shown remarkable success in helping patients like Sarah. This specialized therapy focuses on changing the content and emotional impact of nightmares through techniques such as dream rehearsal, where patients practice rewriting their nightmares with more positive outcomes while awake. Sarah learned to visualize her recurring nightmare, but change the ending. Instead of being endlessly chased, she would turn to face her pursuers and discover they were simply lost souls seeking help. Imagery rehearsal therapy represents another effective treatment modality for nightmare disorder. This approach involves having patients write down their nightmares in detail, then rewrite them with more positive or neutral outcomes. The rewritten version is then rehearsed mentally for 10 to 20 minutes daily. The theory behind this technique is that by changing the dream content during waking hours, the brain begins to incorporate these new elements into actual dream experiences, gradually reducing the frequency and intensity of nightmares. Medication can also play a role in treating nightmare disorder, particularly when the condition is associated with post-traumatic stress disorder or other mental health conditions. Prazosin, originally developed to treat high blood pressure, has shown effectiveness in reducing nightmare frequency and intensity. Other medications, including certain antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs, may be prescribed depending on the individual's specific circumstances and concurrent mental health conditions. The role of sleep hygiene cannot be overstated in managing nightmare disorder. Sarah learned that factors such as sleeping environment, bedtime routines, and lifestyle choices significantly impact dream content and sleep quality. Avoiding stimulating activities before bedtime, maintaining a cool and dark sleeping environment, limiting caffeine and alcohol consumption, and establishing consistent sleep schedules all contribute to better overall sleep quality and potentially reduced nightmare frequency. For individuals struggling with nightmare disorder, the condition can feel isolating and overwhelming. The fear of falling asleep, known as somnophobia, often develops as a secondary condition, creating additional barriers to healthy sleep patterns. Support groups and online communities have become valuable resources for people dealing with nightmare disorder, providing platforms where individuals can share experiences, coping strategies, and encouragement with others who understand their struggles. Sarah's journey with nightmare disorder taught her important lessons about the interconnected nature of mental and physical health. Through consistent therapy, improved sleep hygiene, and the support of understanding friends and family, she gradually regained control over her nights. While occasional nightmares still occurred, they no longer dominated her sleep or her life. Her experience highlighted how nightmare disorder, while challenging and disruptive, is a treatable condition that responds well to appropriate interventions and support. The significance of addressing nightmare disorder extends beyond individual suffering. When left untreated, the condition can contribute to broader mental health issues, relationship problems, and decreased quality of life. However, with proper recognition, diagnosis, and treatment, individuals can overcome the nightly terror and reclaim their right to peaceful, restorative sleep. Sarah's story serves as a reminder that even our darkest nights can eventually give way to peaceful dreams and restful slumber.